Darling, the first $20,000 you save will change your life. Not because it makes you rich. Let's be honest, $20,000 won't even buy you a decent mid-sized Audi these days without a predatory loan and a soul-crushing monthly payment. But it changes you because it quietly, almost invisibly, separates you from 90% of the population forever. Most people treat $20,000 like practice money. They think wealth begins at six figures, or maybe when they hit that first million. So they treat these smaller amounts with a certain, careless disrespect. They spend the first $5,000 on a whim, the next 10 on a deserved vacation to Tulum to take photos of a life they can't actually afford. And then they wonder why their existence feels like a hamster wheel made of gold-plated plastic. But here is the secret most influencers are too polite to tell you. If you cannot save $20,000, you will never be rich. It is the ultimate filter. It is the universe's way of asking you a very pointed question. Do you actually want freedom, or do you just want to look like you have it? I still remember the exact moment I crossed that line. I was sitting in a small, overpriced cafe in New York. Nothing in the room looked different. My tea was the same temperature. The porcelain cup still had that tiny chip on the rim. But as I glanced at my phone and saw that number, $20,000, everything felt irreversible. The air in the room felt thinner, cleaner. I wasn't just a girl with a job anymore. I was a woman with capital. I realized that for the first time in my adult life, if the world decided to be difficult, I had the means to tell the world, no. Today, I'm going to show you why $20,000 is the most dangerous number you will ever reach. And why, if you don't understand the mechanics of this specific moment, you will miss the entire game. Wealth is a language, darling. And most people, they are still stuck in the alphabet, struggling to spell survival. I want to tell you about Clara. Clara is brilliant. She's a partner at a high-end firm, earning $250,000 a year. She smells like expensive Santal perfume and quiet desperation. When you see her at dinner, she's wearing a vintage Chanel jacket and carrying a handbag that costs more than my first 3 cars combined. She looks like the definition of success. But I've seen Clara when the bill comes. I've seen the micro-expression of panic when her firm mentions restructuring. I've seen her hands shake when her landlord mentions a rent increase or when her car needs a new transmission. Clara earns $250,000, but she has never crossed the invisible line. She treats her money like a guest who is just passing through, arriving on Friday and gone by Monday, having funded a lifestyle that is breathtakingly beautiful but structurally hollow. She is what I call high-end exhausted. She is one emergency, one bad quarter, one "we need to let you goes" away from total collapse. That is not a life, darling. That is a high-wire act without a net, performed in front of an audience you don't even like. Most people believe wealth is a destination you reach with a large paycheck. It's not. Wealth is a threshold of stability. Until you have $20,000, you are reacting to life. You are a leaf in a storm. A dental bill, a broken water heater, or a cold comment from a supervisor can quietly rearrange your entire emotional state for a month. It's not the event itself that's expensive, it's the lack of a buffer that makes it catastrophic. $20,000 is the moment where life stops being catastrophic and starts being manageable. It's the moment you stop paying the fear tax. Let me show you where the math becomes seductive. If you have $1,000 invested, even a strong 8% return gives you $80 a year. That's a nice dinner out. Your brain looks at that $80 and dismisses it. It says, "Why bother? I'd rather have the shoes now." This is where 90% of people quit. They kill the seed because they can't see the tree. But at $20,000, that same 8% gives you $1,600 per year. Now, something subtle and psychological happens. $1,600 isn't just a dinner. It's a month's rent in many places. It's your insurance for the year. It's your flights for a vacation. At $20,000, your money has stopped being a balance and has started becoming a bill payer. If you leave that $20,000 alone for 25 years at 8% without adding another penny, it becomes roughly $137,000. That's the boredom dividend. You did nothing, and the world gave you 6 figures just for having the discipline to stay still. But let's look at the real magic. Imagine you hit that $20,000 mark and then simply add $500 a month. In 25 years, you aren't looking at $137,000. You're looking at over $620,000. Over $500,000, born from a simple $20,000 seed. Most people kill that seed because they'd rather have the new iPhone today. They trade a $500,000 future for a piece of glass and aluminum that will be in a junk drawer in 3 years. Darling, don't be most people. This is the moment where money stops being a number you track and starts becoming a system that tracks you. You stop asking, "What can I afford?" And you start asking, "What is this purchase costing my future self?" The real shift isn't the math, though. It's the wiring in your brain. Before you hit $20,000, saving feels like a diet. It feels like restriction, like you're punishing yourself while everyone else is at the party. You save $500 and then your car needs a tire, and life takes it back. Your brain says, "See, this doesn't work. I might as well spend it." But once you cross that $20,000 threshold, the weight of the money changes everything. You open your bank app, and for the first time, the number holds. It doesn't collapse under the weight of a single bad week. It has gravity. And suddenly, you stop protecting the money out of discipline, and you start protecting it out of identity. You stop identifying as someone who needs to spend to feel worthy, and you start identifying as someone who has. It is the shift from "how do I look" to "what do I own?" And here's the part that no one ever articulates. Once you have that buffer, you start making completely different decisions in the real world. Think about it. You're in a meeting. Your boss is being unreasonable, pushing a boundary, or asking you to compromise your ethics. If you have $0 in the bank, you are a hostage. You smile, you nod, and you calculate your rent in the back of your mind while he speaks. You smell like fear, and he can sense it. But if you have $20,000, you sit back. Your shoulders drop. Your voice becomes lower, calmer. You aren't calculating rent, you're calculating your options. You realize you could walk out that door and be fine for 6 months. That shift in your energy changes how he treats you. People don't respect those they can control. They respect those who are optional. Confidence compounds faster than money, darling. And $20,000 is the price of admission to that confidence. So how do we actually get there without spending 10 years in the trenches? Most people try to save what's left at the end of the month. That's adorable. It's also completely ineffective. If there is money left on the 30th, you will find a reason to spend it on something essential, like artisanal candles or another streaming service. The strategy is simple and slightly ruthless. You decide first what stays. If you earn $4,000 a month, you must automate $200 every single week. Not $800 a month, $200 a week. Why? Because $200 feels like a grocery trip. It's manageable. Your brain doesn't go into starvation mode the same way it does with a large monthly lump sum. At that pace, you hit $20,000 in about 2 years. That sounds like a long time to a TikTok brain. But those 2 years are going to pass anyway. You can either reach the end of them with $20,000 and a new identity, or you can reach the end of them with a drawer full of tech waste and the same high-end exhaustion. Apply the friction rule. Any purchase over $150 requires a 48-hour cooling-off period. Most desires are just dopamine spikes that don't survive a good night's sleep. And finally, set your luxury threshold. Decide right now which 2 things you truly love. Maybe it's high-quality coffee and tailored coats, and be expensive there. But be absolutely, brutally cheap everywhere else. Then, something elegant happens. At $20,000, you don't have luxury. You don't have a yacht, you don't have a jet. But you have something much more terrifying to the status quo. You have options. And options are power. You become dangerous because you are no longer biddable. You cannot be bought with a measly 3% raise to stay in a job that kills your spirit. You cannot be manipulated by predatory marketing because you already know the high of owning is better than the high of buying. The first 20,000 doesn't make you rich. It makes you a rebel. It makes you a person who has opted out of the cycle of fragile prestige. The first $20,000 is invisible to the world. No one will see it on your wrist. No one will see it in your driveway. But they will see it in the way you walk. They will hear it in the way you say no. Your life quietly splits in two directions today. In one direction, you keep reacting. You keep upgrading. You keep wondering where it all goes. In the other, you start deciding. You start building. You start becoming the person who owns the system. Most people will work for 40 years and never feel the quiet, cold power of having $20,000 in a world that is designed to keep them at zero. Not because they couldn't, but because they stopped when the process got boring. But you, darling, you know that boring is just the sound freedom makes before it arrives.